Hey everybody, it's time for another monthly energy report, this time for the month of August 2023. Remember that this energy report is just for entrepreneurs. I channel these themes specifically around what it's like to run and operate a business. It is not for relationship readings. It is for our professional pursuits. So if you're here for this, you are in exactly the right place. This month, the peopling quotient continues. This was a huge theme in the month of July, and this is not the exact same thing as the July energy report, but that one is well worth looking at if you didn't catch it from the previous month. I'm just going to tell you those themes are holding strong and they're developing to an even deeper place this month in August. Before we get started, please remember to click the thumbs up like button on this video so more people can find the content. And it also helps me know to bring more of this to you. I also super appreciate it when you click that subscribe button, click the little bell for notifications so that you get an alert every time I publish a new video each week. If you love this energy report, feel free to share it with a friend. Sharing is caring. Help them also navigate all of these tumultuous energies that we're experiencing. And with that, let's get into the themes for the month of August. Our first theme for the month, number 1, is believing in yourself. You could call this faith, you could call this confidence. There are a whole lot of different ways that you can describe this for yourself. So do choose the words that feel most true to you. What this is all about is making sure that other people's dialogue doesn't get into your internal dialogue. When you know in your head and in your heart that what you're doing feels true to you, it feels 1,000% right, then that is the thing that you want to believe in for you, not external words that are coming to you, which don't belong to you. I'm starting to see how this theme has been brewing under the surface, and in August, it's really going to come out in a space where you can actually see it like right in front of you. You might notice just how much other people project their limiting beliefs onto your projects and onto the way you're trying to run your business. And it's not just people, it's the world. It is certain societal standards or cultural standards, and you're going to start noticing how they've been projected onto you in a way that they just simply don't apply anymore. I've also been seeing this with people who are breaking a lot of ancestral chains where they're saying, I inherited like a certain belief system, and that belief system actually doesn't apply to me in this modern day and age, and definitely not for the life that I've chosen to build. So your job this month with this first theme is to determine what belongs to you compared to what really belongs to someone else, or to something a little bit more nebulous like a societal standard or just a cultural way of operating. But discerning what is actually yours is the thing we really want to anchor into, because it's going to become your guiding North Star. It's going to become that light in the darkness that's going to help you navigate some of the choppy waters that are still coming before the end of the year. And then our second theme grows out of the first theme, and it's around once you do determine what's yours, now it's time to have some space for reflection activities. We really need those spaces where we can process all the things that we're going through. So this can come in like a variety of ways. All of us need quiet time in order to hear ourselves think, quite literally. So if you don't have a lot of quiet time, your goal this month is to figure out, how do you start adding in just a little bit more? Remember, we're not going for like from 0 to 60 all of a sudden in 1 second. We're really looking for, if you've started with no quiet time, no time for yourself to even have a moment to breathe, how can you find at least just 1 moment to breathe for yourself per day? It can come at any time of the day. And for the rest of us who do have a regular practice of finding quiet time and processing time, we definitely want to keep that going. But here's the interesting part. Do you remember the peopling quotient? What we talked about in the month of July? The fact is you can actually get a lot of reflection from other people by interacting with them. But this is still the kicker point. When we are interacting with people to get that reflection back through the voices and the eyes of other people. The in-person live factor is still going to be stronger than meeting with somebody in the online space, because the nature of technology, this screen that's in front of us right now, it dilutes the interaction that we have between people. You can kind of think of it like a telephone call. I mean, most of our calls today are pretty good, but even our cellular connections sometimes are like a little wonky. So that conversation is always, without a doubt, going to be clearer in person than it is over the phone. So on a very practical note, we are sensible and we are woo around here. We are sensible woo. So you do what you can. We can't avoid virtual interactions, and I would argue, nor should we. Connection on any level is better than no connection at all. Virtual connections happen as a regular part of our world now, and it's something that we have to incorporate into the way we navigate. If you can make face-to-face happen, this is where you learn to have the both and existence of, I can be online in a virtual space and I can also make some face-to-face in-person interactions happen. And if you can't yet make that happen, just do your best and continue to connect as best you can in all the ways that you have available to you. And then that both and part leads us into theme number 3, which is all about letting go of absolutism. So absolutism could also be called things like black and white thinking, binary thinking. We are actually moving into a space of the both and expression. So when we unhook from absolutism and we start to embrace more of the both and expression, you'll notice that it's still very much a large part of everything the collective is going through right now. And honestly, I think a lot of people are feeling confused about this. So for you, as you're doing that reflection from the second theme, you can start to notice where you yourself have your both and expression turned on brightly, and places where you're still stuck in that black and white absolutism type thinking. I feel like this is going to show up really bigly when it comes to our branding, how we talk to our audiences, how people can then relate back to us. And it's that ability to embrace the nuances of your expression as an entrepreneur. It's kind of like having a house and having extra windows that you can peek in and out of to see a wider view. What that does when you have more vantage points, it means that you can figure out better what to do with your offers. You can make more nuanced changes to them that are going to respond better with your customers and all the things they're going through, whether or not they're at the same point of understanding the nuance of their own expression too. Now, our fourth theme is starting to get a bit philosophical here. We are talking about fork in the road choices, and it is a choice. One fork in the road is you can ride the wave and lead the way. And the other fork in the road is that you can allow other people to make the choices, clear the path, and kind of come in behind the path behind them. Either option is 1,000% okay. It really comes down to personal preference and what kind of energetic usage and expression you feel most in alignment with this season. Because either option requires different energetic uses, it means that there's going to be costs and benefits to both. The way that I feel this is showing up is in the way we put language and meaning around how we talk about who we serve and what we offer. And you, just like all of your customers, we don't always have words for everything, but those of us who are in an energetic space of wanting to clear the path are going to be the ones who find the words to help others build better words on top of that. Or on the other fork in the road, some of us will let other people find the initial words so that we can make those even better. So hopefully you can see that there's no one way that's better than another. I personally think that this is going to take many, many years to actually smooth out. And that's because the language that we're using in our business world right now is going through a phase where it needs to die out. I like to call it the hustle bro era. All gender expressions have been trained to operate through language that has been created by the hustle bro era. So if you think you're exempt from it just because you don't like the hustle bro thing, you're not exempt. We've all been influenced by it in the way that we create and run business. So this is where we remember that both and element from our energy update this month. This is why that is so important. You can simultaneously protest that old era that is on its way out, and at the same time, not yet know how to operate in a completely different way, which means you are still going to be using the existing methodologies that everyone else is using. It's time to create new methodologies, and those just don't pop up overnight. They take time to grow, and they're also not something you do all by yourself. One person doesn't create these. They are something that happens within the collective. So you are a part of the collective, which means we have that peopling quotient, which is why we have to interact with each other to start creating a new reality. So whenever you feel those bits of frustration, because you're like, I see something that other people don't see yet. I've been hearing that dialogue brewing in the background here and there too. Just remember, it's not all about you. It's about the world around you. And the people around you, they need time to catch up. When you haven't heard of something before and you don't know that something can be different or that something else can work better, it takes people a minute to be able to see it and recognize it and then to trust it. For those of you who are feeling like you're sort of on this leading edge where you're talking about something new and different, my advice from an intuitive perspective is keep talking. It's going to feel like you're talking to an empty room, and that can be tiring and frustrating, but it's a great way to practice, and eventually people are going to start hearing that message. But if nothing goes out into the airwaves, then there is no vibration to respond to at all. So we need to start putting some vibration out into the airwaves so that people have something they say, oh, I hear a new tune playing. I can actually tune into that now. And there's something that I can hear. Remember that both and at the same time, you're still coexisting within the same systems that we've all grown up in. So you're going to be doing your part in the existing systems to also make them better. I think the thing that's really interesting about this theme for the month, and the reason why it's something we need to spend just a little bit more time talking about here this month, is because some people have the desire for leadership and some people don't. And some people have the capacity for leadership right now and some people don't. But our hustle bro culture era would love to tell everybody that everybody's a leader and everybody's in charge. And that's actually not true. There's actually a lot of people who have a very powerful choice in this moment. That choice means that you can coexist within the system while doing your part to make them better. But you are going to let other voices take the lead and then watch for trends to see where that energy goes. And then you're going to make your move later based on data and trends that you see. So you're not going to be the leader at the start of the pack, but you're a leader in a different sense. I used to be a ballroom dancer, and so I always love to talk about the role of a leader versus a follower. We've talked about that around here on this channel before. As a follower in the dancing roles, I can tell you that followers do an awful lot of leading. So it's a misnomer to think that those terms mean that you're either the one in charge and the one who's going to make the big impact. The truth is everybody's making an impact. What you want to do is dial into where do you feel your energy right now. There are a lot of people who are feeling really tired right now and are going through burnout and they're recovering from all of that, and they need time to actually take care of themselves. And there's nothing wrong with being an amazing trend spotter, or if you know you have it within you, to clear the path in front of you to be able to put your energy in that direction. And again, this is where that both and shows up. You can crave that kind of energy clearing thing and at the same time not have capacity, or vice versa. So ask yourself this month, do those reflection activities, make that time for that. Where do you fall on this spectrum? This whole energy element of dismantling the hustle bro era is not going to be over anytime soon. It's going to take us a long time. So you're not late to the party. You're not early to the party. You're just exactly where you're supposed to be. And it's going to take us many years to find all that new language and to find all those new methodologies that we've all been craving. But you understanding your role in the business community is going to help you tenfold, because then you're not going to overextend yourself in certain areas. And you're also going to have a much stronger branding perspective because you're not going to try being something that you're not. The fifth and final element of our August energy update for us as entrepreneurs is around languaging. So big changes, they're coming down the pike. We all feel them. We just talked about a really big one. But the thing is, a lot of what we are noticing and feeling has been pushed into this non-verbal part of our daily expressions. And this month, it's time to start practicing bringing that language forward. So we're looking at, where do our thoughts and feelings go unspoken. A really easy way to notice this is that when you speak, you might notice, in the same way from our first theme, that you might notice projections coming onto you. You might notice that you were also projecting back out onto other people. And it usually comes out sounding something like this. Wow, can you imagine if you actually did fill in the blank? Newsflash, that's actually you who wants to do fill in the blank. Now let's preface this real quick. This is not the same thing as when you're coaching or you're providing a service or doing the thing that somebody has paid you to do, which is to help them fix a problem or tell them actually like what you think they should do. What I'm talking about is when you watch somebody else out in the world take action in a way where you wish you really were taking that action, or you know you need to take that action. So for the moment, these kinds of personal reflections you get back are very personal and also very private. And I think it's more than okay to keep it private right now. When you are tapping into these major personal shifts, I find that keeping these conversations more on the private side is really important. So you might have some private conversations about it, but this is not going to be one of those things that you process by going live on Instagram or doing some big verbal vomit on YouTube. If you do that, it's fine. It's okay. Everybody's been there. Just notice for yourself what happens. I usually find that it takes away some of the magic from the processing. You might find, because you've put it out there, that first theme for this month is going to come back around, where you'll notice that other people will project things back onto you, and you'll have to do additional sorting of, does this belong to me, or is this actually the thing that I really wanted to work through? So it's really about dialing into yourself, like a lot. I know it's transformative for everybody, but there is going to be a small percentage of people where this is going to feel really, really hard. And if you notice that this does feel really hard for you, cut yourself a little bit of slack, give yourself some grace, and just know that it's okay to feel that. It's a new skill that you're developing. It's kind of like never having lifted weights before, and you're like, wow, those are really heavy. And after a while, they're just not so heavy anymore. So give yourself some time to finish processing. I've been seeing some trends that are already showing up, and I also saw it in my channeling practice, this sort of picture that was painted where there are a lot of changes coming, and I see everything from like diverging partnerships to CEOs who are like entirely relocating their entire businesses. I saw a lot of things with like offers changing literally 180 degrees, like totally different. But for most people, it's kind of generalized still, where it's this generalized feeling of impatience. But that becomes more specified so you can do something about it when you can find the articulation or the words for what that impatience is all about. If you notice that you have no more patience for fill in the blank, start getting really specific about what fill in the blank is about. And then remember, we're not living in absolutes anymore. This is a both and situation. So you can be impatient and frustrated about something that needs to change. And at the same time, you still have to exist with system before you can make any changes. It's very complex. The 4th and 5th themes for August are getting into a complexity with our energy updates that I find personally really exciting. And I hope you do too. But when we're working through them, they can be a bit of a mind twister. The truth is that solving these problems has always been complex. But what I think we're really seeing here is, again, another expression of the death of toxic masculinity in our entrepreneurial world showing up. So that hustle bro era has trained us so well to think that we can take things that are actually complex and will always be complex and simplify them down into something that can be solved through a $497 offer. The complexity has been removed so much that it's actually removed the femininity aspect of what it is that we are dealing with. That femininity or that complexity is coming back in full force. It's an incredible force, really, and it's coming whether you're prepared for it or not. So what we are being asked to do right now is just simply start preparing for it. Start making space to incorporate that. Be willing to accept it back in. I don't think that we are going to see that complexity fully activated until about the Lunar New Year of 2024, which is in the first quarter of 2024. I asked my guides to give me a little bit of a time frame, which can always be a little difficult when you're doing this kind of channeling work. Time just is not quite the same in other spaces as it is for us in the human expression, but that was definitely the feeling that had more of a warmth around it. What's interesting is that by the time we get to the Lunar New Year, We're going to see the death of toxic femininity go from being on deck to up to bat. And that's going to be a whole other ball of wax that we're going to go through together. But today, your job is not to solve for these big things that you can't control. All you have to do is solve for yourself. What is your expression? What are your words? And most importantly, what are your choices that you choose to make, so that you don't have more advice forced upon you and you're really honoring your inner knowing? We have a chance right now to fully embrace our highest expressions and understand what true full agency means for us as individuals and as CEOs. So there you have it. I was traveling literally on the other side of the globe when the rest of this channeling came in, and it was really, really interesting and fascinating the way that it did. I got a chance to see just how global these themes are, and that from an individual expression to a global expression, just how much each of us is not alone in all these big concepts and shifts that are happening. Remember, you totally got this. I just want to thank you so much for tuning in for this energy update with me this month. Remember to click subscribe. Your support helps other people find this channel. It also helps me continue to grow this content for you here. And then when you click the thumbs up like button, it tells me not only that you liked it, but also helps me know what I need to bring more of around here for you inside of this channel. Honestly, I would love to know how these themes are showing up for you this month. Leave a comment below the video and tell me which of these is popping out the most for you. And let's see if we can crowdsource a little bit of what everyone is experiencing. I will see you next week here on the channel. In the meantime, please have a great time in your business this month. Remember to be sensible, be woo, and most of all, be you.